Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Cornerstone Stitchery and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch with some knitting and crochet thrown in. And sometimes we will talk about shop update, which I do have a smidgen of a shop update that I'll put at the very end of this video. So we'll go ahead and get started. But first, I would like to thank each and every one of you who subscribe or like or comment or watch my videos. It is really touching that you would spend your YouTube time here with me to talk to me about or visit with me while I talk to you about my crafting. And of course, if you ever have any questions about any of the projects, I do try to put the information in the video description box below, or you could always email me at cornerstonestitchery@gmail.com and I will answer your questions there. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to show you some cross stitch pieces that I got ready for display. I've been meaning to show you these things, but I kept forgetting because they've already been hung up. So we will start with the project that I made for my husband for Father's Day. No, I didn't make it for Father's Day. I made it for our anniversary. I think I started stitching it 3 weeks before our anniversary, and I was able to complete it on time. It is by Meridian Designs, and it's called In the Air. Yes, In the Air. And this is the finished product. It only took me a couple weeks to complete, and then I just had to finish it up. And I think in the last video that I showed this, I said I was going to see how much I could get done while my husband was away. And actually I was able to complete it right after I filmed the video because he was still gone. He had went somewhere. So this is that. And I just put a piece of cardboard, a backing cardboard, like it's almost like chipboard almost, but it's a thicker cardboard that they put in like the back of magazines for like comic books and stuff like that. I just covered that in matching fabric, and then I put a piece of felt behind the stitch piece to give it a little bit of poofiness, and that's it. And this this paddle I got from Dollar General for $3, and then I am hanging it with a command strip, a Velcro strip, and that's it because it's not very heavy. So this is In the Air by Meridian Designs. We'll set that over here. And then this one is a cute little patriotic design, and I'm going to put the information about this below. I have no idea where I stumbled upon it, but it was posted online, and it was for like a sewing guild of some kind. And here it is. It is a little crooked because I think I got the magnet on crooked, but sometimes if you're careful, it'll stay. I had completed the stitching on this a while ago, and I had just pulled out the stuff to finish it. And see, it's the same blue fabric. I put some felt behind the stitch piece, and I just used a magnet to put it on this metal star. It's actually a candle holder that I got from my local Meijer store, which is, you know, the grocery department store here in Michigan. So see, it spins around because I put that. I don't think that the magnet is actually quite strong enough for the project. Plus, I think it's off center, so it just spins around. But I'll fix that later. Okay, the next is a 3-piece set from the Prairie Schooler. It's Where There Are Bees, and there's 2 little pieces, 2 smaller pieces, and yes, it's crooked. Which one of these? It's a teeny bit crooked. It wasn't like that when I was finishing it, but I think when I pushed it into the box, it got a little crazy. But these are, I think I got these from Walmart. And I think they had like something about fall on the inside, and I just ripped those out and then popped these inside. So these are the 2 smalls that came with Where There Are Bees. And then this one, I did cut my backing board for this a little wonky, I think. So I need to get some cord trim. And this is a tray that I got from Dollar General. It's probably the most expensive piece that I purchased. I think it was, the tag says $12. So it's got a magnet in there, so it is a little wobbly, but when it's hanging on the wall, it doesn't matter. And see, I just need some cording to go around the edge to hide my mistake there. But it's about having the pieces finished and up on the wall and being appreciated and not in a bin under the bed. So those are some of the pieces that I finished lately. I'm just thinking, did I have any other cross stitch completions? But I don't think so. I think that's it. Okay, so then we are on to knitting. I did have a knitting finish. I finished the Musselburgh hat that I was working on, but that is upstairs in the oven, and I'm not gonna go up there right now. I am downstairs in the living room, and you know what? I think this is the first time that you've ever seen our little guy. He's over here taking a nap on the couch next to me, and he's not even paying attention to what I'm doing. He's sleeping. So that's pretty exciting. This is Dexter, our Weimaraner. He's 9, and he doesn't ever come upstairs with me to do videos, so this is the only time that you'll ever see him on screen. Unless I continue to do my videos down here, we'll see how it goes, because it's really hot up there. It's hot in Michigan right now. So anyways, I finished the Musselburgh hat, so then I cast on another project. I was going to do another Musselburgh. I wound up the yarn and everything, but then one of my friends here in Michigan who cross stitches and knits, she posts pictures whenever she goes and crafts with her friends, and someone was working on a Reyna shawl. It's a free pattern that you can get from Ravelry, and I said, you know what, I already have that pattern. I already made one of those, but I would enjoy making another one. So I went upstairs and I grabbed some yarn, and here we are. This is the Reyna shawl. So it's sections of garter and eyelet lace, and you just do sections. The garter section stays the same every time, but the eyelet lace section gets twice as big. So I am, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 3 more repeats in the garter section before I move back to a garter section. Did I say that right? 3 more repeats in the eyelet lace, and then I go back to garter. So you start here in the center with just 3 stitches, and somehow it just kind of makes it go straight across. So, and I kind of like that. I don't like it where it's kind of all bunchy in the center. Sometimes they can get like that. And this is from that Quotable Dumbledore yarn club that I was in a couple of years ago. I think it finished in October of 2020. And I did all 12 months. I got my bag needs to be vacuumed. And this is a word, it's desire spelled backwards, and it's just a word that Dumbledore used when he was talking about the mirror. So I really like this yarn. It's pretty. It's purple, but then you can see some blue coming out, and it's just very tonal. I'll show you again. It's just very tonal, and I like the yarn. So I am making that. And I would, you know, do that in the car when I was with my husband when he was driving, or on my lunch breaks. But now the rows are actually too long for me to complete. They're rows of 2. So even in the garter section, there's a wrong side row and a right side row, and I don't have enough time to get both the wrong side and right side rows done on my lunch break because they're just taking too long. So I probably won't work on that very much at work anymore. I'll work on it when I'm in the church van with my husband. So okay, so that's all of the yarn crafting that I did. Now I have a bunch of cross stitching. The Naptime Stitcher on Instagram is doing an event for the Olympics. It's called hashtag Stitch the Summer Olympics, and there's a prompt for every day from July 26th, the opening day of the Olympics, all the way until August 11th when closing ceremonies happens. So I have all of these projects. They're kind of in order. I did work on other things too, and I looked through my bin and I don't see anything, but I think they're in this pile. So let's just start with all these cross stitch projects. Buckle in. I hope you have something to drink. I hope you have a project, because this is day 9 of the Olympics. So I already have 8 projects just from the Olympics. Okay, so the first thing that I have to show, this is, I do not believe this is part of the Olympics. It's just, I think I was trying to work on my Whip Go stuff before the Olympics started. And this is Happy Fall. This is from TianaHandmade on Etsy. And it says Happy Fall, and then it has a couple of pumpkins, a white, teal, and orange pumpkin. And I did do a little bit on the teal pumpkin, but most of the work that I did was on the orange pumpkin. And I worked on this for a couple of days, and I got about, I don't know, 500 to 600 stitches, I think. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm using 18 count oatmeal Aida that you can get at Michael's, or I think I got this at Michael's a couple years ago. And I'm using the called for DMC. I'm not doing any conversions or anything. It looks like kind of like a watercolor painting. And I have a couple of projects from her that have that look. Okay, so that's that one. Oh, and then I was working on Folk Art Christmas from Artecy. And I was trying, oh, I have 2 needles in here. Holy smokes. Let me set these aside. Okay, so I was working toward a finish. That's what I was doing with this one, because I was already at like 74% complete or something, and now I think I'm at like 92. So I was working on this quite a bit. I had this band started, but I went ahead and finished that. I found some random stitches down here that needed to be finished, but I finished this band and then started up here. I really don't have a ton left. I have to finish the top row of things. There's another polar bear over here and a couple doohickey things, and I'm finished. So I'm really liking this. This is on 18 count antique white Aida, and I am using DMC. The 2 greens are called for, but the red color is $4.98. It was, I believe, $6.08, which is a bright orange. I don't know why. Maybe it's a folk art color. I'm not sure, but I changed it to $4.98, and I really do like the way that it looks. And even on 18 count, you need a couple of skeins of the $4.98. I think I'm on my 2nd or 3rd. And then I am into my 2nd skein of the $8.90, which is the darkest green. Okay, so this is another Whip Go piece, and it is called, what is it called? Legendary Girls by Tumbleweeds, which is basically a division of Little House Needleworks. And so this was one of my starts last year during Whip Go, when I did all the new starts instead of whips. I only had about 500 stitches into this, and I doubled my stitching. I'm using 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed, and then the called for DMC conversion on the chart, because I think some of them, you know, classic Little House Needleworks owns Classic Colorworks. So yeah, it was all Classic Colorworks, and I used the conversion on the chart. So I got 500 stitches done, and the only thing that I worked on was the text. So this top row of text here, that's what I was working on. I'm almost finished. I just had, look at, I just had a little bit of the D left, and then I would have been finished with that row. But it was time to move on to another project. I just kept rotating because I was really behind on the Whip Go because I worked on shop stuff. So I just wanted to kind of catch up on those so I could get some progress in. This is a whole, this is a bag of floss. And I'm guessing that this is from previous projects and it just needs to be put away. It shouldn't be in here. Anywho, moving on. Okay, then for some reason, I really wanted to work on my Super Mario Brothers map, World 8. Not World 1. I'm behind a couple of months, but I wanted to work on World 8. I have no idea why, but when I was working on it, I was having a great old time. And this is from an Etsy Etsy person. I don't remember their shop name. I am using 18 count Aida in the colorway Sand, I believe. It's a Zweigart color. My husband and daughter bought it for me for a gift. I only had 206 stitches, I believe, in this project when I started, and now I have this many. So I was going diagonal, and I just had the very bottom corner, and now I put in all of this. Yeah, so what I was doing, before I was doing parking on the background on the sand on this one, and it really wasn't going well. And I was doing that technique because I thought that it was going to make my stitches more tidy than the other Super Mario map, and it did not. I didn't find that they were any more tidy and laying down properly than the other one. And I like the way that it's looking, but it was not worth the effort and the being so fiddly. So what I did is I worked all of those in. I do have this one left because I took the color up to the top, and now I just need to turn around and come back down. So I do have this one color. There are 3 colors in the background in the background colors. Instead of the other map, there's only 2. So once I got a couple of rows or columns at the top and done all the way up here, then I started to put in a strand of black, DMC 310, and then I would go down and do another color of the background, then I would come up and do a strand of the 310, and then there's these little sections of one of the colors. So when I came up to the top and I needed to cut it off, then I used that scrap to fill in the little sections here. And so it's just working up so nicely, and I like the system that I have now instead of doing the parking. It was just, I gave it a try, and it wasn't the parking necessarily, it's just the way that the stitches are designed, the placement of the different colors. It just was too fiddly for me. Maybe in a different project the parking would go better, but in this one it was not for me, not my cup of tea. We'll see how it goes in a different project if I try it again. Okay, so there was that. What is this? This is the Decorative Butterfly, also from Etsy. I purchased this for my sister. I do not believe that she watches my video, so I'm not really afraid of talking about it on here. Sister, if you do watch my videos, hi and thank you. It's a nice prize that you're watching, and this is for you. Just act surprised later when I give it to you. This is on 18 count antique white Aida. I told you that the last time I talked about this project, I said that I was going to go to the cross stitch shop. I know that there was a color there that had blues and browns and just like it was designed. And if I remember, I'll put in a picture. I'm not going to use my graphics this time because there's so many projects, and I don't think that my video would save and load. So I did go to the cross stitch shop and looked at that floss that I had in my mind, but there was too much brown and not enough blue, and I needed an emphasis on blue. So then I went over to the Threadworx section, and I found this color. Oh, I've got my DMC 310 stuck in here. Let me wind it up so you can see the different colors. There's blues, and it's got some brown in here. So it's kind of blues and grays and browns. And I thought, you know, and I pulled a couple out, and I talked to Colette at the shop, and we both agreed that looking at the mock-up and then the floss that I pulled out, this was probably the best bet. And this is Threadworx 1051, in case you're interested. And this is Decorative Butterfly. And then I am using 310 in the called for spots, 310, but in hindsight, a navy would have looked really good with this, but since I had already put in 1,000 stitches of the 310, I think it was 1,000, I'm just going to keep going. So I worked on this before the Olympics event started, the Stitch the Summer Olympics. But then I use this as day one for opening ceremony because it was a new start or something that you started in 2024. And I started this, just 2 months ago or so, maybe in June. And so I do have a lot of progress, but here is where I got to. So all of the blue and brown stitches are new since the last time I showed you. I do not think I put in any more black stitches. So this is my progress so far. And there's, oh gosh, I did not take a look. If I can remember, I'll put it here, how many stitches I got put in. But oh my gosh, it's well over 1,000 stitches of the blue, well over, maybe 1,500 even. I got a lot done. So there was 20 some colors between, there was greens, blues, and browns, and kind of gray colors. And some of them were just like one stitch here, and then it didn't show up again until over there. And I just couldn't see myself doing all of that confetti. And this is giving it a really nice look without all of that effort. So I'm being able to go and just row by row by row or section by section and adding it in, and it's going really well. Okay, so I don't know if these are in order now. Kind of. So day 2 was something patriotic for your country or another country that was participating, but I swapped that because I knew I was going to be in the car because I actually went to my sister's house. So day 2, I stitched on a summer item. So I picked a Prairie year by the Prairie Schooler, and August is the watermelon. So yes, it was not in August. I started it in July, but it's the little watermelon. I hope I have that in camera, the watermelon. And I have some progress. I can't remember how many stitches I got done. I think I did over 700 stitches. Okay, first I started here, messed it up. I messed it up, so then I flipped it over and started down there. And as you can see, I got a whole bunch done on this watermelon. And no, I'm not centered in the fabric. I don't know what's going on with whatever. It doesn't matter. It's going to be enough for me to finish it any which way. But I'm not a center starter. I'm not a center starter. So I'm like, well, that looks like enough margin. And then as you can see, I probably cut my fabric just too large. Oh well, what are you gonna do? So yeah, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a row of white, and that's like the rind, you know, because it's like a cut through of the watermelon. So there will be more green, just one more row of green above that, and then it's the watermelon. And I almost have all of the red filled in. Then there's some dark color for the seeds. There's a couple rows of seeds. I hope you can see it. Okay, this is copyright in 1986. I love the Prairie Schooler very much. So, and I am using the called for DMC on these. Usually I do for Prairie Schooler, except for in the Halloween charts, I don't like the 3371. I use 310 instead. I know. Don't be mad. So, can you guess what I stitched on for the Patriotic Day? I have a lot of patriotic pieces. I'm just wondering if you can guess really quickly. Okay. Lady of the Flag. I picked Lady of the Flag. And why did I pick Lady of the Flag? Because I haven't touched this project in forever. It feels like she is on my whip go, but I haven't had like the desire to work on her just because of the linen. Now I put her on my Q-snap, threw the Q-snap in my Case Creation lab stand, and I stitched away. And I stitched on this on a Sunday, and I was very bad, and I skipped church last Sunday, and I stitched on this, and I got 1,273. So let's show you what that looks like. I am stitching this on Sorry, the Prairie Schooler watermelon is on 28 count Monaco. I can't remember what color. It doesn't matter because they don't make that anymore, that color. They make Monaco, but then they put all that sizing in it anyway. And with the called for. This is on We the People fabric from the Primitive Hair. It's 30 count linen. And I was working on the top portion of the flag, trying to finish the stripes. So one of the other reasons why I didn't like stitching on this project is because it's a paper pattern and there's lots of color changes. I don't like color changes, but on a paper pattern, in order for me to keep track, I took pictures with my iPad and was just marking it off on books. You put the picture in books, it turns it into a PDF, and you can use the highlight feature. Okay, that's all going well, except for I didn't take really good photos. And so, like, the edge was cut off over here and it was cut off over there. And so I was really struggling keeping my spot. So what I did is I laid the pattern back out, and as you know, they're huge. That's like a huge piece of paper and it's on front and back. So I laid it out and tried to get it nice and flat, and I took a really nice photo with my iPad. Like, I tried again and I really tried to get a nice square image, and I took it from where I was at on the left-hand side going upward. So that way I could start from where I was at and go up and make sure I was all the way to the left, because that's where the flag is on this. So I just lined it up and took a picture of the top portion of the pattern. And then I spent 20 to 30 minutes just going through and quickly, and you can quickly mark because all you do is swipe. You turn the highlighter on and you swipe with your finger. So I quickly marked out what I had done. I had a couple of patches in there, a couple of empty spaces where I had some what people call ninja stitches. And so I highlighted those yellow so they stood out to me. So when I got to that color, I would remember to go down and do those. And so now I feel that at least for this section, I had a really good starting point and I could quickly go through and get some stitching done. And it worked. I started at 6 a.m. and stitching at 6 a.m. and I don't know what time I got done, but like I said, 1,200 stitches. My top for a day is 1,300, and that was on the Jurassic Park logo. It was all block stitching. I don't know how I did it. And all day long, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting nowhere, I'm getting nowhere. But then when I added all the stitches up, I was blown away. So here's, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this with the light coming in from behind the shades, but I'll put something behind it and show you the up close later. So this is We the People by Primitive Hair and Lady of the Flag. And any blue stitch that you see on the flag is brand new. Brand new. Mostly, it's going to be hard to show because I need more hands, but mostly this whole entire section, that whole section is new stitches. There's a little bit down in here. Like I said, there was a couple stitches here and there, but mostly that section is new. Now the middle color, so it goes dark blue and then this lighter blue, and then toward the center is a darker blue. In between, you use the light blue and the dark blue and you blend them together. And I don't like blends, but the effect that it's not perfect at all. I'm not doing it perfectly. Professionals would not like my technique, but it really does help the two colors fade together. So the effect of the blends in this particular case is really, really cool. And I think there's 3 other instances where Noora Corbett uses a blend for DMC to create an effect. So we'll see. But so far so good. And what I'm going to do when I get to another section, I'm going to do that whole process again. I'm going to take a really good photo. Like, be careful, get it as flat as I can get it, and I'm going to take a really good photo and take some time and mark off the stitches, highlight the one, like if there's ones in the middle that I didn't get to, because I know like over here I'm not done with the sashing and stuff. So maybe next time I'll go over here. So, and this is on my Whip Go, and this project is actually for my daughter. I am not going to double dip. I am not going to cross my Whip Go off, even though I already got 1,200 stitches in here, and my goal for Whip Go was like 500. I am still going to work on this again before the end of the year for my Whip Go. So I am using, oh, as you noticed, the original is golden cream, and I am using someone else's conversion for the teal to make her look like the Statue of Liberty, because that is what was requested by my daughter. Now, right now, I don't know what it looks like on camera, but from the naked eye, like when I'm working on it, excuse me, some of the teal colors like blend right into each other, and I don't know if it's giving that same dimension that the original colors give it, but I am not starting over. So there's that. So that was day 3. Okay, day 4, or what I think is day 4. I don't really know. These may have got messed up, but there was one that you had to stitch on. I think this was day 4. The Olympic rings color, so black, yellow, green, blue, and red. And so you were supposed to stitch on a fabric of that color or using floss of that color, something or other. And so I chose Memorial Day by Hands On Design, and because it has blue and red and green, but then I also realized it also has yellow and it has gray. I know gray is not black, but it's pretty close, and so I have almost all the colors. This is the newer Monaco, the 28 count white Monaco that you can get from like 1-2-3 Stitch, or sometimes you can find it on Amazon. Fat Quarter Shop has it, I believe. They come rolled up in a tube in 2 different size cuts. You can get them, and it has sizing in it. Sizing is basically starch, and it's not the same as the stuff that you can get off the bolt, and that's basically what I stitch all of my Prairie Schoolers on, is the stuff off the bolt. And it's not the same. It's close, but not the same. The sizing makes it different, and I wish that they still put it on the bolt so that way you could cut off however much you want. Anyway, okay, so I got 500 stitches, 600 stitches. I can't remember exactly. My goal is to get 500 stitches on all of them, so I know that a minimum of 500 on this. I finished the flag. The flag is done. It does have there's 3 flags. All of them have back stitching on the stripes, but I think I'm leaving the back stitching off. We'll see how I feel at the end. But this flag is now complete. I started working on I put 2 clothespins in and started working on the line, and I put in more of the words, and then I did put a couple strands of light green down here and started working on the flower and the darker green grass. Yeah, so this is not charted in DMC, but I am using the conversion that is offered just because it's more affordable for me. But yeah, a minimum of 500 stitches was put on this, so that's really cool that I got that one flag done, because I felt like every single time I picked this up, I'm like, this flag is never ending. But I mean, it's solid color, so there's that. Okay, next up was it was about swimming, and you had to stitch on something with water. Well, I only have one project with water, and that's Words to Live By, and I needed that for my oldest whip. So this one I chose Seasons of Chalk Winter. Let me see if I can find the cover. This is from Just Cross Stitch magazine from like, I don't know, a long time ago. February of 2016, and it's Hands On Design. This is the chalk art, and then this is the cross stitch design. I think I have the magazines for all 4 of these projects. I'm stitching this on 28 count black Monaco off the bolts, because they don't even make black Monaco, which I was seeing that people were talking in the Stitching with the Housewives Facebook group about Monaco from the black Monaco from the Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm like, wait, is someone dyeing it black, or did they start making it again? So I haven't found the answer to my question yet, just because I really wasn't like, I have like 2 yards of this, so I'm not all that concerned. But okay, so I put some white down in the bottom, and then I started working on the letters. So I had to finish the R because there was some 16 blue stitches missing from the R, and then I stitched the E, and then I put a couple of strands down here on the bottom, all the swirls that go along the bottom. And I am using the DMC conversion that is offered for this as well. And a minimum of 500 stitches. This one was a little bit harder because, as I've said before, my living room is not lit very well. So it is a little bit harder to stitch. I was stitching this in hand, but then my wrist was hurting or something or other. I was getting frustrated about something. So I threw it in my Q-snap and put it on a frame, and I'm like, oh goodness. And I just flew through the stitches for the rest of the evening. Yeah, so this is pretty cute. 500 more stitches. Getting closer and closer every time I pick it up. I know this had to be on pause for a while because I ran out of the white color, so I had to get some more. Now I'm all stocked up. Okay, then the office was next. The office, stitch something round. And yes, I probably could have went through all of my projects that were left and found something round. I mean, even a pumpkin, is round. However, I picked this one, and I noticed that someone else picked something that was going to be finished in a hoop as well because it's round, and that's what I did. So I picked the office, and this is from Stitch Area. I don't know if this one is still available or not on her Etsy, but I don't remember what fabric this is. It's a Lugana, and that's all I know. I'm not very good at this because usually I stitch on Monaco and Aida, and it's really easy. So I had all of this done. I had the big tuna, I had the beet, and this red. So I did these letters here, the Mifflin, and I finished the Dwight statue. And again, that was 500 stitches or so, 500 to 600. But the Dwight isn't done. He needs 3 red stitches for his mouth, and then he needs glasses back stitched on, but I figured I would do that at the end because I don't want it to get messed up because this black box has something back stitched on it too. So, and the red, I think the red has something back. There's quite a bit of back stitching, but I didn't want to mess up the stitchings, the back stitches. So I will do those at the end. And it'll be so fun to see it come together. Yeah, I like stitching on Lugana. But I'll tell you a story about the last project I'm working on. It's Lugana, but that I think is 28 count. Okay, so Words to Live by Tiny Modernist was my oldest whip, and that was the prompt for the day. And even though there is water in the project, I needed this for my oldest whip because it's my oldest whip. This is on 14 count black Aida. Here, let me show you see if I can get in. This is what it looks like now, the whole picture. I have 4 full blocks done. I think there's 16, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plus the 4 in the center. There's like 4 blocks in the center that make one big block. Okay, so there's that. My goal was to work on this block and complete all of the stitching, not the back stitching, but just the regular cross stitching. And I didn't do it. Because I just felt like all of the color changes, which are necessary for a project like this, not bashing that, it just was slowing me down. And when you only are giving yourself a certain amount of time to work on it, I wanted to get as much progress as possible on the one day I was working on this. So I decided then to come down to the center section and work on the sun. And oh man, once I did that, I flew. I finished the dark, the light, the dark, and started on the light again. So I finished a lot in the sun just because it was block stitching instead of instead of all the color changes. So very happy with my progress on that. Yeah, this is, I think, 16 count Aida, black Aida, that I got from maybe 123 Stitch a long time ago. Because like I said, this is my oldest. I think I started it in 2018. I think 19, early 2020. But it is my oldest one. I don't remember any other whip being as old as that one. Okay, so then yesterday's project, George decorates for Martha. Of course, it's Mount Vernon and the house was huge, but if I finished the house the last time I worked on this, so that was really, really exciting, because talk about the flag taking a long time on Memorial Day. That house took me forever. So my goal on this was, of course, 500 stitches. I got 1 length of floss. I got a migraine, and by the time I got home from work, I just couldn't. I even went and laid down. I was in bed I was here on the couch. This all reclines out. So I was here for a while with him, and then I'm like, no, I gotta go lay down in bed. So I went and lay down in bed, and I was in there for a while. And even when I got up, I couldn't. And then my husband says, did you take any medicine? I said, yeah, I took some at 8:30 this morning, but I can't take any more. And then it dawned on me, like, oh, you took Motrin. I thought I took the Excedrin migraine, which you can only take 1 dose a day in 24 hours. So I felt like such an idiot that I was sitting there suffering all day, because if the Excedrin migraine doesn't work, there's nothing else that's going to work for me right now, because they didn't prescribe me any my actual migraine meds. So I thought, oh my gosh, I just had to suffer through it. But my husband said, when he said, did you take any meds? And I started to tell him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't take the migraine medicine. I took Motrin. So I took some Motrin. It eased up by the time I went to bed, but it just was too bad. And that happens sometimes. I don't know what my trigger is. Yes, I'm going to go back to the doctor. Yes, I'm going to insist that we try that MRI out, and just to see if there's anything underlying. So, anywho, all that being said, I got 1 length of floss. It was Weeks Dye Works, and I cut it in, I don't know, five in yard sections, because it comes in 5 yards. So it was 1 section, or 1 length, about 1 yard long, and I did that leaf. It's not even all the way done, but that's what I worked on. And this is 28 count Monaco off the bolt that I coffee. You can tell it's off the bolt because this is the selvage edge. I coffee tea dyed it, but here's what it looks like as a whole. The house is done. There's pumpkins. George still does not have his head. I should probably put that in sometime. But I knew that if I worked on the leaves over here, I was going to work on a couple of the leaves and then bring the border up, because I'm almost all the way to the top. So my goal was to get a couple of the leaves done and then bring the border up and around. And so I don't even know how many stitches are in there. I didn't even count, because I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it is coming along. So next time I work on this, if I'm hoping that, whatever. I have a lot to do. But I was going to say, oh shoot, I have my little tin of stuff still in there. Usually when I work on something, or at least a couple of years ago, I would work on it for an entire week and I could knock out a great section. But I haven't done that in a while. Plus I need to start designing more for the shop. Okay, last one is for today. And it's something with a border. It's got 2 parts of it, this or a border. I'm doing something with a border. So I'm not going to take it off the Q-snap, because as soon as I'm done filming here, I'm going to get back to it. I already have 310 stitches in it. I did work on it at the retreat, which I showed you. I put in a couple rows of border. This time I'm working on the leaves. I took some time. I put in all of these leaves here. I took some time this morning to find as much floss as I could that was missing, because that was my trouble at the retreat. I was missing a whole bunch of floss. So I I looked at the list, crossed off the ones that I already had, highlighted the ones that I had in my stash, and then went and grabbed them out of my stash. And I found like another 6. So these 2 were in my stash. I grabbed those out. It's 991 and 166. Worked there. This bat right here, the top of his head, or, you know, down here, his head wasn't finished. So I finished that, found that the colors that I didn't have just so happened to be the colors that need to be finished in the bat block. Just a couple of the branches need to be done, and I don't have those 2 colors. I think it's 3 colors. Two colors. I don't have them in my stash. I think that I have both of them in other projects. But when you have 40 projects, like, how do you know where to start to go and look for a couple strands? I don't know. So, but it's fine. Ow, my needle's in there and I just poked myself. I folded over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue working along the bottom and get as many of the leaves done as possible, because there's just a whole section down here with leaves, and I'm just going to do as much as possible. And then there's border. Maybe I should work on part of the border, considering the prompt is border. So it's pretty exciting. 310 stitches so far in those 2 colors. And for those of you that are new, or those of you that don't really remember, this is a project that I got from an adopt. I think I am in 2 groups on Facebook that adopt out whips. And this I adopted this one, and it's mine to keep. Some of them you stitch and then send back to people because they can't finish it for whatever reason, but this one is mine to keep. She sent me the fabric, so it's hand dyed. She said that she thinks that it is. I have it all stuck in my Q-snap somehow, but it's a hand dyed Lugana. And so the story that I wanted to tell you is, I don't know if this is why she wanted to give it away, or if, you know, some of these blocks have lots of colors. Like you can see the chameleon, there's a lot of colors. The toucans, there's a lot of colors. So I don't know if it was the color changing, you know, the little colors that she was struggling with, if that's why she wanted to give it away, or if it was the actual stitching. Because I'm going to tell you, this project is hard to stitch on. There's nothing wrong with the project. There's nothing wrong with the fabric. There's nothing wrong with the floss. The problem is, and I've done this myself. I'm just telling you a story. No fault, no blame. She started on a horizontal thread instead of a vertical thread to the right of her needle. And I'm finding, and I found this before, I've done this on the Monaco, and I fought with it the entire time. It makes it really hard for your needle. It's hard to get your needle in the right spot. I find that I'm piercing the linen or the even weave threads instead of going in between, so I have to keep taking my stitches out. It's really frustrating sometimes. I've gotten frustrated at this project twice now. One was a counting error on my part, and I had to take out like 20 minutes worth of stitches. I had to take them all back out and then put them back in. So I felt I was behind. We've all been there. But the other frustrating part with this project is because the needle doesn't go into the fabric as easily as it should, because you're starting your stitch in the wrong spot. Now I did think about, well, Harmony, just move over one. There he goes. I don't know, my daughter just came downstairs, and so he's following her wherever she's at. So it just isn't, it's like not as easy to get your needle to like intuitively go into the space it's supposed to go into. And I don't know if I'm quite using the right words, but if you've ever done that, he just flopped his ears. He doesn't, well, we do think that he has an ear infection right now, but he does that every single time that he stands up. And the doctor seems to think that for whatever reason, it became a habit for him to do. So he just does it every time he stands up. And the doctor, last time he was at the vet, he said his ears are clear. It's got to be a habit at this point. But anywho. So anyways, if you've ever done that, then you will know what I'm talking about, because it's a struggle. But the good thing is, as you can see, there's a lot of blocks finished. I think she finished 8 out of 12, and then the bat one is almost done. It would only take me a few, maybe 20 minutes to finish the bat block if I had those 2 colors. So she made great progress, and you got to give it to her at this large of a project, starting one thread over and have it being frustrating the whole time. Like I said, I don't know if that's why she gave up on this, but it's almost enough to make me give up. But I'm going to push through because it's got to be 75 to 80% done. I don't know. Just a couple more blocks. She even started this block over here. She started this one. I started this one. This one has a leopard, but she started this one up here. So, and I think there's another one. Let me just take it off. I can pop it back in here really quickly. Let's see. Yeah. See, she started this one up here. She started this one right here. And then I started the leopard one down here. So we're getting there. As a team, we are getting there. See, I can pop this on really quick. This fabric is really cool because it's kind of pinky purple. And I think it goes with all of the... And she said she thought it was the called for fabric, but I didn't even look to see what it calls for. So, I'm itchy. I think that's all of my stitching. I feel, again, like I'm forgetting something, but I have this cart over here, and on the second tier, I've been putting all the things that I work on, so that way I remember to pull them and talk to you guys about them. And that's everything that I had there. And then I pulled my knitting off of the kitchen table. I leave it on the table so that way I can grab it as I head out the door. I think that's it. So that was a lot. Thank you for sitting with me through the video if you made it all the way to the end. I just have one little thing to talk about for the shop update, and then if you don't want to stay for that though, that's fine. So the shop update, my local needle workshop is doing a trunk show of my designs. It starts this Wednesday, August 7th. During business hours. They are open on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturdays, or by appointment, but if you can make it on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, that'd be great. And on this Saturday, August 10th, I will actually be there from 10 to 2 to do a meet and greet. So if you are local or within driving distance of Saginaw, Michigan, I would love it if you stopped by during the trunk show, or especially the meet and greet. So that's at Stitch in Time. It's on Gratiot Road in Saginaw, Michigan, 48609. And I will put the information below. But if you, like I said, if you can come to Saginaw, especially during the meet and greet from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, August 10th, I would love to see you there. Otherwise, the trunk show goes in from August 7th until the end of the last business day that they have in the month. He just got a drink of water and almost splashed all over. Do you guys have dogs? Are they messy water drinkers? Because he gets water everywhere. I mean, it's probably 40 feet over to the water bowl, and he just drooled all over my stuff. But anyway, August 7th to the last business day that they have during the month. So I think it would be, what is it, like the 30th, I think, is the last Saturday of August. It runs for the whole month. She has all of my first 3 model stitches that are done, and she has charts that you could purchase. But like I said, I'll be there for a meet and greet on August 10th, and I can't wait to see whoever can make it. If you have any questions about anything, you can comment below or send me an email to cornerstonestitchery@gmail.com. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that something that you saw here inspired you to pick up a languishing whip or to try something new. And until I see you again, bye.